All right, I'll call the Woodland Hills Metro District meeting for regular board meeting for Thursday, August 25th, 2022 to order. And it is 5:35. All right, item 2, roll call.
John Martin, present.
Neil Erickson, present.
Troy Stinson, present.
Stacy Popovich, present.
And I don't know, work, can we excuse for work?
I think we can.
I think we can.
I'll make a motion to excuse Sherry Rand from the board meeting.
I'll second. Any other discussion on it? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right, President's welcome and remarks, rules of conduct. Let's see, well, man, it's been a busy month. First of all, thanks to the staff for making everything happen with the flags at half-mast and everything for Andrew Perry's memorial and funeral and all that stuff out here. I still didn't hear if the governor ever ordered the flag to have staff. But I appreciate that, and also the donations that came in for the utilities, I appreciate that. You know, it looks like his family's getting taken care of pretty well so far. So they live in our community, and that's the second deputy in our community that we've lost. It's not getting any better on the streets, so and from even the fire standpoint, we're lucky right now. We're getting rain about every day, every other day. That'll eventually go away again. So, and I think we already covered. I already sent you the message from the Senso. Is that? Yeah, I think that's them. I'll let you enjoy that.
Me too.
All right. But anybody else have anything you'd like to say?
Good shape.
What's that?
I said I'm in good shape.
In good shape? You good? Good.
Good.
Good? Man, quiet crowd. Anything from the crowd?
Peanut gallery.
We need like one of those little mixer boards so we can like do applause or.
Get one.
Booze. Yeah, I'll take them.
Put that down to order.
All right, anybody lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. We'll move on to item 4, approval or disapproval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Stacy and a second by John. Any other discussion on it, on the agenda? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And item 5 would be approval, disapproval of board minutes.
Make a
Oh, you
motion.
can read them. I read them.
I read them too, I didn't look at them.
Nope.
I'll make a motion to approve the
All
board
right.
minutes.
And I'll second. So motion by Neil and second by myself to approve the board minutes is presented. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And item 6, attorney's report.
All right, that's me. Obviously, we still have the paintbrush arbitration happening. Tentative, nothing major from that. We are currently preparing motions for summary judgment on the various issues in that arbitration. We'll be filing those probably early next month. So hopefully we'll get a ruling in our favor on the big one or more of them, but we'll give you a product of that. And we have the Ferguson land purchase. Let's see, the last I have been informed, that's still going forward. correct?
We'll be talking about it in executive session.
Ah, okay. So that's all obviously it'll be fleshed out. And we are still slowly but surely gathering all the materials we need to submit the amended and restated service plan. So working with Carter, everyone that we need to work with, you know, those documents together. So still plugging away on that, slowly but surely. That is all I have at the moment. We don't have the inclusions that we're doing at the moment. And I think that's all I have on my list, unless anyone can think of anything else.
I'll save that for executive.
Are you still on track for the service plan?
Yeah, but it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight, based on the timelines that I know from the county side. So it's really gonna be dependent upon, red lines. So our thought process is, if we are doing it all modeled off of one of the latest service plans to be approved, that when it goes to the county for their internal review, 21-day interagency reviews, that our red lines will be minimal, if any, based on the fact that it's modeled off of one that's already approved. So it's just, there is a ton of documentation that has to get put together and submitted, so I would say, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, we're probably 85% there.
Correct, yeah, with our, like you said, our big push of filing those documents, yeah, we're getting close to being able to, you know, hit go, and then obviously it's up to the county to push it back if they need to.
The good news is Carrie Parsons, who's the project manager, we have a relationship with her, from within and outside the district, so I think we're in a good spot in terms of who we know and how we can push along this process, to our benefit, but it's still gonna be tight.
All right, I guess, and we'll save the rest of that discussion for executive.
Sure.
Approval, disapproval of financials?
All right, so for July month end, starting out with Parks and Rec, total income actual was $221,986 on a budget of $227,716, so 97% to budget there. On the expense side, total expenses came in at $130,272 in a budget of $216,169. So favorable to budget on the expense side. So overall net profit or total income came in at $91,714 on a budget of $11,547. So did very well, keeping those expenses low. And you can see that year-to-date trend for net income continues to be very steady. We're already 454% to our year-to-date net income and over 265% for the annual. So we're well over what we thought we would earn this year on the Parks and Rec side. So good job to Jed and his team. Not gonna steal any thunder from him. He's got some good stuff to give you guys. Any questions about Parks and Rec?
Just look forward to raising the bar for next year. Budget's coming up.
Monkeypox.
There you go.
Could shut down.
Okay.
No comment.
It's out there, man.
Any questions for myself or Jen on Parks and Rec? Okay. Moving on to water. So water income came in at $632,211 on a budget of $351,000, so 179% to budget again. Big factors are tap fees. This last month we got our large tap fee from King Soopers. It was well over $200,000, so that's the big driver for that.
On the expense side, total expenses came in at 161,763 on a budget of 227,949. So again, JD doing a nice job keeping his expenses down. Net income for the month came in at 470,448 on a budget of 123,683. Again, 205% to net income budget so far year to date, and 120% on the year to date. So doing very well on the water side as well. Any questions for JD or myself?
How are we seeing on chemical side? Is that getting a lot better as far as control goes?
No.
No? The quantity ordering helping to offset that?
Nope.
Still not getting supplies?
I can say ordering bulk quantity now is still be better than 4 months from now, but
Yeah.
still painful.
So you guys, I don't know if you got room to store it. I mean, you guys looking to double up or doing a 1.5? Doing it in steps?
We can only get so much, that's the problem.
The problem is if you went and try to bulk up, the company that delivers it has a limited size truck
Right.
to bring it. First of all, they're usually overweight when they come down, but to us to fill all of our containers. And then there's a shelf life on those containers. So it's one of those catch-22s, and unless you use a lot of it, and you can use it up in 60 days, then it's fine if you can do that. But we are not able to do that kind of a bulk. And the product does degrade at 60 days, and it accelerates after that.
Have you guys thought about setting up a co-op?
What?
Like a co-op?
With other districts?
Yeah, it's called Co-Warn,
Yeah.
but they face in the same dilemma as we are.
But they're more emergency based than standard operating.
Yeah, but going to go get chlorine, you're gonna get 55-gallon drums.
I'm just wondering if you can do an allocation purchase. You know, this is more logistics side for Carter, but if you order in bulk and split it between who needs it and who has it, you can source it, store it, they can use it, and you sell it off to them, keep ordering.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's something we have to talk about, but that's
It's not,
a lot of moving
practical,
pieces.
now you're gonna fall into a hazardous program,
Right.
where now you're having enough chemical on site that opens a whole new can of worms with the state.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, I didn't know what the limitations were, so, okay.
We're staying ahead of it.
Yeah, I will say, these guys have done a fantastic job with it, because I've been asking a lot of those questions too, because I don't know and don't deal with what they do, and every time I ask, like, hey, what about this, they've already thought about it, they've already come up with A, B, C, D, F, G, all the way to Z plans. So, to their credit, they're staying as far ahead of it as they can, so they don't get into an issue, or the district gets into an issue, or run out of chemicals that are, you know, important to everyday operation.
Cool. That's the only question I had.
Any other questions about water? All right, moving on to wastewater. So total income came in at 45,752 on a budget of 339,101. So doing a really nice job there on the wastewater side again. Tap volumes from the revenue side continued to help offset any lower revenue expectations, so good there. Expenses came in at 171,864 on a budget of 247,087. So so far doing really well, keeping those expenses again down. We're in unprecedented times with chemicals and surcharges and all these delays in getting things here. So honestly, financially, I'm very proud of the work that the directors have done to try to keep those costs at as low as they can. Obviously, we've seen other line items jump up or even be well over the annual budget, but they're lowering costs in other places to offset as best as they can to keep the district running very smoothly. So net income for last month for wastewater was 316,000 on a budget of 95,000. So year-to-date, 192% to net income budget. Annual, right now, we're sitting at 112%. So again, all three enterprises doing very well from a net income position, which will help us come 2024 for CapEx projects where we're not coming out of pocket. We're going out trying to get bonds or other debt to pay for infrastructure costs. Any questions about wastewater? All right, moving on. Total district for the month. Revenue came in at $1,344,000 on a budget of $921,000. Total expenses came in at $463,329 on a budget of $691,206. Net income was $880,703 on a budget of $230,414. Currently sitting at 212% to the year-to-date net income goal. Annually, we're at 124%. Any questions from the board about overall district finances?
What do you attribute to the difference between your expense shrink for this year?
Say that one more time, Neil.
The expense shrink between
The
483 to
expense
691 for expected? Is it just,
It's a lot of different factors. I will say that some line items, like I'll give you an example, salary and wages. We put what we thought we would use, but we were 2 people down on the wastewater side for close to 6 months, right, Wally? Jed's been running really thin on the Parks and Rec side as well. So when you don't have as many staff members, obviously you're not gonna use as much money on that salary and wage line. So that's a big draw of the expenses, but there's also other line items that for the years haven't really changed in terms of the budget, but the spend is always much less. So this year, looking to right size going into 23, right size some of those spend lines to make sure that we're setting a budget that's appropriate for what we really spend, not going above and beyond just because we've always said it that way. So those are the factors that I'm seeing in that trend line.
cool, thank you. You know?
Nothing?
I'll make a motion to approve the financials.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion from Stacy and a second by Neil for approval of financials. Is any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, item 8, a summary overview of Parks and Rec report.
In a nutshell, we're doing okay.
All right.
Underwater.
We good?
Read the one.
We're off the hook?
Yeah, you're
That's
Can
awesome.
we leave now?
I like it.
Maintenance, I think they're doing a solid job. We're, obviously all our summer help is left. We have a couple, kids left over. They're doing a work study program from Peyton. So we get them 3 mornings per week. That's helping a little bit as far as the landscaping stuff. Just because the kids go back doesn't mean it stops growing and all that stuff. And with the moisture, we've been hit with that. So we're trying to stay outside and keep up with that stuff. In the meantime, 2 water fountains downstairs were installed.
Do they come to the right level now?
And I'm not sure about the temperature either. I'll double check those things for us. But anyway, we've removed some trees. We've gotten some drainage stuff taken care of. We had a pool drain break on us, so we had to fix that. But the guys are doing a good job and staying on top of things the best they can. We have reached out to D49 with no answer. Let's see if they have a work study program also. I don't know if you know that or not. If they do or don't, then kids that may be able to help us out in that world. But we'll keep plugging at it. Activities, all are doing well. As you can see, we're offering a million different things for all sorts of different age groups or genders or whatever. We ordered some kayaks, they actually just came in. We'll be starting a kayaking class in October. Fall festival, we've started planning for that. Pretty much set with that one. As you remember last year, we really had a great turnout, so we've added a couple things like a gaming truck this year, just to kind of bring a new crowd or a different crowd, or more of a crowd. So looking to kind of grow that part. We started working on our Santa, Cookies with Santa, trying to get reindeer this year.
I pass a whole bunch by
Pick a
the
couple
Black
up.
Forest Reserve almost every
Some
day I
land,
work.
I mean, what are they for?
There's a- there's a
Are we eating them? What are we doing?
There's a company that actually, they
First
love
one,
it,
then
and
the
they-
other.
you know, that we have our Santa here, so we'll set it all up, people take pictures with them, all that stuff, so. Anyway, we're always looking for something to tweak our events, as you know.
Cooking with Santa?
Sausage making.
There you go. Fall break camps and so on, so on, so. Last concert went fairly well, pickleball tournament went really well. We'll continue to do that. All the people that were there asked for another tournament and also a league, so we're working on those. Adult basketball league was a huge success for the first one we ran. We're running another one now. Already have a couple teams signed up for that. Adult field day, we tried something different, and we had an okay turnout. But people liked it and want to throw that, so we'll look at that next summer. So on, as you can tell. Revenue, as Carter was mentioning, it's been really well. August revenue's changed since we sent this out. As of this morning, it's over 16,000. Year-to-date revenue's over 156,000. So those numbers, just to kind of give you a comparison. Last year in August, we had 11,700, so about $4,500 higher than last year at this point. And then year-to-date, we've already passed last year's mark substantially. So programs continue to do well. We'll continue to look for tweaks, additions, and things like that. Outdoor pavilion has been ordered. Do not have an estimated date of arrival yet. Pools, we're still waiting for that last piece for that kids filter. Obviously, we're just going along with that, but we're still waiting. We reach out weekly to no real answer. I know last board meeting we talked about chlorine, liquid chlorine versus the pucks versus, we looked into the salt water. I sent that information out to, I don't know if it was all of you or Troy, I can't remember. It doesn't look like that's a good idea to do. Cordero's closing down their salt water and switching over to liquid chlorine. In talking to Meridian Ranch, they told us to shy away from that. I sent you a video that I watched. I can share it with you guys if you want it. It's really talking about all the negative things that salt does and all the different things you have to purchase just to kind of transfer over to that. So with that, I didn't think that was wise. The liquid chlorine, the estimated cost to build that closet out, we're looking at 300-gallon tank, a little bit larger than the one that Meridian Ranch bought. And I think that will save us money. I know that will save us money long-term as far as the liquid chlorine versus the pucks. As far as the chlorine, everything here, we're stockpiled. I didn't realize how much we had stockpiled. We're good for at least another summer and a half. So that's actually a good thing. So I know that you guys talk about the chemical line and all of that. That kind of balances out because we've done things like that. But I'm a little paranoid. And I'd rather have it here and not have to shut a pool down or that type of nonsense. The other pucks are very hard to come by right now. They're only allowed to order 2 buckets at a time. The buckets are close to 300 bucks a pop, and they last about a week. So that's kind of, I'm a little nervous right now, we have about 12. So give or take 12 weeks, but it can go pretty rapidly, so. Anyway, looking to switch over to the liquid chlorine soup. Boilers, I mentioned a couple of board meetings ago, I believe, there was an inspector, did a stop by and kind of dinged us. There was two things that we said we had that fixed. One of them was already on the list to be fixed, and we had that done. The other one is scheduled for next Tuesday, so we'll be done with that. Water fountains, I told you downstairs. Ramp is in, we just haven't had time to install it, but it is downstairs waiting to be installed. We're hoping to get to that today, we just didn't. Falcon Park fence is mostly in, like I think I told you last time, we left one section open, so the trucks and turf company can come in and out without an issue. They have started the excavation. I don't know if you've driven past there, but all the dirt's up and out. They laser leveled it yesterday or the day before, so they are starting to bring the backfill in and all that over the next week or so. Started the whole pricing out of like the Wi-Fi over there. You need Wi-Fi over there to have your camera system so that we can see the camera system either from our phones or our computers back at the offices. So I started getting all of those price bids. You see there, the electric is obviously the biggest piece to it, running electric lines all over the place, and then obviously poles for both the cameras and the lights on them. So the last piece, and we're supposed to have it by now, but I don't, is the Wi-Fi. So I'm not sure what that's gonna cost as far as that hookup from Stratus IQ. But looks like it's about $54,000 for the electric, and the cameras are right around $13,000. So it's a pretty penny, but I think it's the smart move. Both as far as safety, and it's not gonna stop everything, we all know that, but it might hinder a few from trying something stupid. But it also allows us, the light part allows us to run some different events. We're working on a adult flag football right now, and with the days getting shorter, nights getting shorter, I should say, if we get those lights in fairly soon, it allows us to run those things later in the evening. So I think we're gonna move ahead with that. I believe that's all already budgeted for in the capital projects for this year, so. Any questions about that? Thoughts, comments? Last piece to that whole puzzle, we ordered signs for every single entryway, 2 different signs, one talking about you're under surveillance and, you know, vandals will be prosecuted, and then also some basic things of like, you know, motorized vehicles on our new turf, and even though they may do it, at least we have a sign that we can point to and kind of use that. And then obviously no animals allowed on that turf either. We did get the, I forget exactly what they call it, but the sand that is pet odor resistant.
The Durafil.
Yeah, but we still don't want them running all over that. So we did put those signs up already. Drainage, they were supposed to start Safeway a while ago, we had all those rains, so they've kind of postponed that. With that huge rain, the oak mock trees were already gone, so we had 0 erosion through there. That was without the rock. We did order the rock, but just to kind of give you a heads up that that water didn't do any damage over there after those trees were gone, so that was good to hear. We have Bennett Pond, there's 2 main trenches that come into there, waterways that come into there, we have that scheduled. Again, most likely gonna be a fall thing when things dry out a little bit. And then also redig all the trenches that lead to that main drain, and then kind of build up those berms so the water stays where it's supposed to. So that's all kind of on calendars, and when things dry out, they plan on doing. So, I don't know if you want to talk about the check and executive, or if that's, you look like, I don't know if you had a thought on that. Long story short, that check from Olgun or whatever they're called.
Ronick?
The cement company,
Ronick?
I have gotten zero response from them. I don't know if Ted has heard from them. They're the ones who destroyed all of our lateral lines all the way up and down Meridian Ranch Boulevard. And we paid the fee with hope or understanding that they were gonna kick that money back to us, and we have not seen or heard from them. Ted and Brian, those guys sent them a letter, and I don't know if they got a response either. So.
Brian, do you know if you've gotten a response yet on that?
That's right. I have not seen a response on that. Obviously, we sent the letter out, I think it's been at least 30 days now, but yeah, no response, so we'll have to follow up. I'll talk to Ted about that when he gets back.
I thought we were going to the county with this.
We left a message and got no response on that either. So unless someone has a different contact or I don't know how far you wanna push it, but
12 grand, that's a good chunk of money.
There.
Yeah, I'll go to Ted. I think we could probably keep following up and just, keep pushing it.
cool.
Yeah, just make sure that the lawyer fee doesn't outpace the check that we're gonna get from
Last thing on that list is the RC roof is started. They have about half of it off already, and the new, they had to replace a couple pieces of plywood that were rotted out. It's not as many as I thought they would have to. And then they have the water sealant on the half that they've exposed, so they're kind of plugging along. Hopefully it'll be done in the next couple of weeks, actually, is the goal. So that's where we're at. I think that was about it for me. Any questions, comments?
You thought about getting digital signs for your marquee boards?
Yeah, I know we talked about that when we were going through the process of building the gymnasium, either having one up on the side there or out front of RCE. Still a thought, I just haven't.
Thinking one here, one at
We
the,
could do
They're
one here also.
expensive.
They are very expensive.
I just put in a grant for it, and it was $500,000.
What?
They're expensive,
How big is the sign?
because they're cloud-based. And so from Jed's computer, Woodman Hills board meeting this Thursday at 5:30, and it would
Which is
instantly
cool,
go out to all of your
efficient,
signs.
and really awesome, but,
well, I'm thinking that with all the events and everything that's going on in the district,
yep.
you could put all of those on every marquee at the same time and let the homeowners know between the three locations. I would put one at the district office too.
I think it's a cool idea. I mean, I'll start putting some numbers together, obviously.
Yeah, and then likewise,
Price
you can
tag
post
is
water,
there,
wastewater stuff on there
so-
too,
$2 million.
communication.
That's it.
That's it?
How much is that, $500,000?
It's just a regular sign, the signs, the digital signs that you see at like schools, it looks just like that.
Yeah, that's,
Now granted, I needed 5, but you gotta get the wiring, you gotta have the program.
So it's 500,000 for 5 of them?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, that's the, I thought you said 500 for one. Oh.
No, I needed 5.
Now let's get a dozen. Make it a
So who are you,
No.
can you give them the grant information?
Mhm.
yeah, if I could steal it from them, that'd be awesome.
Maybe we can apply for the same grant?
Yeah.
Battle.
Send it to
Yeah,
me, Stacy.
no, it gets our message out there, so.
I know, because I'm still waiting to go to the meeting in July.
I can only tell them to do so much.
Yeah.
But I have gotten a lot of
I don't know if
compliments
anybody
like,
besides
oh,
you looks at that.
the
I
mower,
came to the
I'm
wrong
glad the
place.
mowers work.
What's that?
I've gotten a lot of compliments like, oh, the grass looks so great, it's trimmed this year, and I'm like, well, last year we didn't have mowers. Or people to even drive them, but we didn't have mowers.
I mean, I get it, there's always room for improvement. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you there isn't.
I'm just teasing you.
But I think the guys have done a pretty solid job. It was their first summer going through all this, with the turnover, and yes, there's always room for improvement.
Just so you know, we've got 30 days until the next month's meeting.
So try to get the.
Have a lifeguard do it.
You sound like a certain couple that is constantly.
I mean, they're using the facilities and they're just wanting to,
I get it.
they're wanting just some of the things that went away in the Reno, from what I got on the email that I got.
But she's not correct in that. That's the difference. So
that's between you and her and him. And
I know, you're a messenger and you're.
I'm just gonna leave it to you guys unless.
Bottom line is, certain things by code you don't have to have. I know people think you do, but you don't. And other things are silly little requests, you know, towel hook inside the shower curtain area makes 0 sense to me. It will get wet. It's that simple, and there's one outside the curtain. Those types of things, I don't know, we have a lot on our plate, you know, that's something we can look into when we're not outside, but everyone's got their own lens and their own opinion.
It's just little things, and you're gonna keep getting just little things from people. I mean, that's good that they can only,
I was gonna say.
they can only
if
email
that's-
about little
If
things.
that's the worst complaint,
That's a
I think
great
we're doing a
thing.
good job, so that's kinda how we're looking at
Should be worried, say we saying the light bulbs are wrong color.
it. I think we need to get that.
So when they're hanging disco balls, all the shower stalls.
So, but overall, I mean, I think we're doing a solid job, so,
You guys are doing great.
anything else for us? What was the time on that, John? I know you
42
timed
minutes.
it.
I didn't time it today.
43 minutes.
All right, we'll move on to item 9, water report.
So a few things here. We did our state quarterlies in the 3rd year of the VOCs and SOCs that you're in, volatile organic compounds or synthetic organic compounds that's found in water naturally. And this was treated for all of our treatment plants. The test results that are below detectable levels are VDLs. So when I get this sheet back, it tells me if you have any mezzanines. A lot of these long-term words you probably don't understand, and I can't pronounce half of them. So I'm gonna bury you the boring part of that. A lot of them are VDL, which is very good in the water quality that's within the district. Now, there's an exception from filter plant 3 because we were pulling waters from 15 miles away, and we were pulling waters out of the alluvial.
Yeah,
And
maybe he's playing.
the alluvial
I'm
water
not sure.
historically is trending up with higher nitrates. It's something that we're gonna probably address at some point to lower those down. Right now, what we're doing is blending the waters to keep those nitrates below a threshold. Threshold is 5.0, 10 is a violation. So that's 10 milligrams per liter. Or 10 parts per million, whatever way you wanna look at it. So that's something that we're gonna keep our eye on. And the alluvial wells, what causes those nitrates? Well, it's just in the area that they are. There's farming out there. There's agricultural growth of various crops. Nitrates from fertilizers can get in that water table. There are septic systems, but the major component is whatever's in the agricultural field or farming that chemicals that can be allowed to get into that groundwater. They're very shallow wells out there. So it's something that we know, it's been known out there, but at some point in time, we're gonna have to address those, how we would treat those and remove them out of the water. So that's something further on. But overall, the water being treated doesn't pose any health risk at this time. And the information that you would see those test results will be on your 2023 CCR report coming up in June. On the 30th of July, there's a fire hydrant that was hit. Probably noticed the one there at the Safeway. We have a new hydrant there now, but the cause of it was a vehicle accident. Driver claims he was trying to avoid a deer and hit the hydrant, claims he hit the hydrant at 20 miles an hour. But anyway, we lost 150,000 gallons of water because of that, because it broke the main. And it was one of the hydrants that we insured, so we have turned that claim into the insurance company as well as.
I'll say yes. But it was one that was insured.
Yeah, and that the Highway Patrol Office had given us the case number for that. So as it is here saying that the hydrant that was damaged, it was damaged beyond even trying to reuse it, so we had to replace it with a new Kennedy. It's now back in operation.
So does our insurance pay for it and then go after his insurance? How does that work?
So we file a claim, so we have up to a certain limit on it, and I bought down our deductible. So we pay very little for the cost of it. So like right now, the cost of getting a fire hydrant, having the emergency crews out there, I mean, you're looking at well over $10,000 to have that one hydrant done.
Understood, I understand that we have insurance on it, but is his car insurance going to reimburse us?
They won't, we have nothing to do with it. So
Okay,
to
so-
answer your question, I filed all the information with the insurance I already have, and then they do whatever they need to do with.
They go collect it.
Do we get reimbursed?
Get reimbursed.
Do we get reimbursed for water loss,
Yeah.
or is that just water loss?
Not something that was part of the insurance filing, but I don't know how we would do that, JD.
I don't think it's something that's a recoverable loss.
Okay.
Rate fee of 150,000 gallons.
I mean, we can come up with a rate for it, and I can talk to the insurance company about, hey, could we get reimbursed for the cost of
Just
that?
ask, you know, if you don't ask, it's
Yeah,
no.
I mean, I can ask,
Right?
I'll find out.
I mean, we can charge them the in-district rate,
Yeah.
Why?
because they hit a hydrant in-district.
Although he'd be up a few tiers because it was $150,000.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I mean, you know,
We'll give them a little
just bill
discount.
them accordingly for the,
All right, moving on. Fourth, we had 5-Star Automation. You're probably wondering, well, it's been a long time since we heard about them to start the new SCADA upgrades. It's because of the supply issues of getting all the components and getting everything to work well with the collective going forward with the SCADA equipment. Well, it's now been started on the water side. They started on the well sites 5 and 6 to cut those over, and then it would be soon filter plant 3 behind us, filter plant 1 that's behind us right now. And for testing purposes, they use a cellular box, and that had to be set up before any of the cutovers of wells 5, 6, and transfer station. So we had to have a box up there to say, hey, this is the level, so we can turn on and off wells and plants as need be. The installation of the new equipment will be filter 1 and then transfer, and then it'll be the starting basis, and then it'll filter out throughout the district.
And their ETA was supposed to be September when we originally looked at the quote.
Well,
Are
it
they
was,
still on track?
it was with the section that we had, if they had all the equipment, I believe. They didn't have all the equipment. It's pretty much impossible to get everything for one project, and especially the scope that we have. But they did well, they found some things and got very creative, and we're now going forward. It's just a little slower in the process.
Just want to make sure any of these contracts we're doing, we're inside of agreement,
Yeah.
right? Within the agreements as far as the scope of the agreement. Not that we want to push on them and say, we're going to charge you because you're late. It's just, we want to make sure they're staying on it.
Right.
Okay?
And the water program, the water meter program is still going, as you well know. And the 13th of last week, 1,061 meters were installed, and it leaves us about 1972. Well, that number's been cut down a little bit more, so they have a little over 1,100 plus. And this tomorrow would probably have another 100 added on top of that. So we're moving right along with that. Bentgrass and Falcon Marketplace is still in the development stages, with King Soopers already had dug and broke ground. They have run into some issues. The county's making them to dig deeper in the area where they're putting the building because the soils are bad. And so there is some delay in that process. Dutch Brothers and Super Car Wash they're still on pace of their opening dates. They're projected. I think Dutch Brothers probably would open sometime in October, November timeframe. They're really pushing hard to get that, their CO for that date to be open for business. And our vaccine samples came back as good, and they no fire hydrants are out of service at this time. And then just a reminder for anybody that's listening to this meeting, that on our meter program upgrade, we're gonna be handing out door tags here before long, phone calls, letters, email blasts. These will continue until November 22. And please, if you have a major appointment, call the district to schedule an appointment. The Woodman's Hills water staff, operation and office staff will thank you for your cooperation. Finally, as the cat was let out the bag,
Good job, truck.
I got an official letter from the El Paso County, the Financial Services Department. And it says, for Woodman Hills Metro District, dear J.D. Shivers, on behalf of El Paso County, I am pleased to inform you that your application for the Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Investments Grant Assistance Program has been selected to be funded. The objective of this grant program is to aid eligible water and wastewater organizations in making necessary investments in water and wastewater infrastructure. Eligibility procedure or expenditures incurred must be a cost-effective means for meeting the project's needs, considering available alternatives. Please note that your grant has been funded by the Federal American Rescue Plan, or the ARPA Act, funding approved by the El Paso County and for water and wastewater infrastructure investment projects. El Paso County Administration approved the end award of $1 million for the eligible projects described in your application. Please note, this is a reimbursement-based award, and expense will be reviewed for eligibility prior to your reimbursement.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, great, good job. I like it.
It's $1 million section of the district, so.
And that's going to the water treatment, the new water treatment facility.
That would be through the Theorite project.
The budget, that project was like 4.1. We asked for 3.8, so that, I mean, anything helps, right?
I'm glad they met us halfway.
They gave us $1 million, which will help tremendously, as you guys, the board will see with our CapEx projects coming up next year and subsequent years. We do have an aging water infrastructure that we're gonna have to start putting more money towards. So that $1 million will definitely be well used to help the infrastructure of the district.
I like it.
And then just for a side note, for our staffing, we manipulated our staff in-house to fill Wally's collection crew. And by doing that, that affords me to hire 2 new people. I've already hired one for this week, and have the next one that was hired for next week. So we're trying to work together to fill these needs of specialized licenses for key critical jobs that has to be done in this district. And that's all I got, unless you have any questions.
Did the email blast we did last week increase meter calls?
So every time we've done an email blast, we get flooded with calls, which is good. It's just, it's painful, this process, trying to get people to call in and make their appointments. So we've got a bunch of different strategies we're working to reduce that, but it's just a lot of time from the staff's perspective to get these people on the phone and get those meters swapped out.
There's a few Facebook groups, I don't do the other social medias, that would it help if we posted it and it didn't come through as like, Woodman Hills is blah, 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 asking, for whatever, but it's coming as a resident saying, hey, don't forget, you have to have this done by November.
We'll take any help anybody wants to give.
Okay. Okay.
You gonna stand on the corner with one of those spinny signs?
Hey, if that will get people to call in, I'll put a clown suit on and everything.
No,
No,
you gotta do that.
Second that motion.
I like this little sign deal. I like this.
Little sign deal
Little
with
spinning
clowns.
sign, yeah.
What
I
kind of
mean, we
suit-
could have you dress up as like Wonder Woman one day.
Well, I don't think I wanna see that.
Santa Claus is coming.
Hey,
Right?
I got another.
You gonna have Santa do it?
Santa and the
Santa's gonna be
reindeer.
butchering reindeer.
Carbon knife and a shotgun.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, JD, appreciate it.
And congrats.
Yes, that's good news. All right, wastewater report, item 10.
Alrighty, so the same day that someone hit JD's hydrant, and JD came back from getting her dropping the backhoe off. He called and said something wasn't right at the plant, we lost power. The generator was running, but it didn't switch power over. So, long story short, apparently the way the VFDs are set up in all the HVAC systems, the air intake is on the top, and the original designers put a shield over it, but the day before it rained so hard, I think rain got in there, went down in, shorted the VFD out, which we didn't realize this could happen, but it tripped out the switchboard and the main gear, so the generator didn't know what to do. So I went to fire, had to shut a bunch of equipment off, got everything fired up, went to turn the stuff for the HVAC and exploded a VFD. So when I put power to it, I finished it off, so. Yesterday, Ross Electric finally got done. Said here, the original replacement part would not have been able to get until next spring, which we can't go through the winter with the louvers open, so. They got same VFD, just not weather related, made a weather enclosure for it, so we're back up and running again, so. They did a pretty good job finding replacement parts right away. We're supposed to work on HVAC alarms, obviously we couldn't because we didn't have HVAC, so hopefully next week we'll get with 5-star, get working back on that again. Feel like EMR is complete, still working with plan stuff with engineers for proposed developments, we'll talk about later. All our empty IBC polymer tools are picked up, so our screw press room is empty again. Headworks, because all things went out that bar screen, the electrical part was kind of put on hold, so we're trying to get electricians out next week to get bids on getting the electrical hooked up. Once we get that figured out, we already got Barnard Structures is gonna be putting a new screen in. They'll have to work simultaneously to, just, they gotta pull one screen out, move it over, put the new one in, which is gonna require somebody coming in probably every 4 or 5 hours to manually scrape all your poop off the screen, so. I'm not, but somebody is. The blower motor, mentioned last time, the manufacturer White said it wasn't a failure on their end. I think Gardner and Denver just cutting their losses at this point, said they would cover the cost of the new motor. We just covered the install on it, so that saved us $20-some thousand. So, at the end of the deal, they didn't make a dime off of putting blowers in our plant, but hey, I'll take it as a win. So getting quotes on the 4-inch diesel pump, apparently nobody wants to sell this one. Well, at the end of last year, I talked to Neil about this at the time, because of the material shortage, we're having trouble getting our chlorine testing, so we got a bid from USA Blue Book that came with an apparatus, all the testing equipment, we got everything but the apparatus. And calling customer service, everyone, oh, we'll look into this, didn't get nothing back. But finally found a local rep for it, and in 2 minutes of looking, he could tell by the weight on it would have been chipped, we never got it. So, it's kind of a weird financial thing, but they're gonna honor last year's rate, so they got a new one released, we should be getting it here in a couple of weeks. But, I don't remember how that thing worked, but the cost is like $600 more this year than last year, so.
They essentially gave us a credit for the surcharge. So we're paying the original price from last year with a credit on our account for the surcharge for this year.
So basically it was paid for last year, it's not gonna affect this year's budget, so. So finally, got that figured out. The company last Saturday, we took our new back truck over to the Touch a Truck event, Grace Community Church. It was more of a hit than I thought it would be, especially once the kids found the air horn, but it went pretty good. Actually, I had a lot of adults ask that live here in the district, asking what we do with it, why we have it. So, from an educational standpoint, I think it was worth the 3 hours, so
That's awesome.
went good. Like it says here, we're working on the 2023 budget. I'm not looking this far out to
Let's say, wow,
2023.
that's impressive.
I'm forward thinking. JD loaded, wastewater's finally staffed again. I heard a guy, he heard a guy, we moved the guy around. The new hire guy, dude's phenomenal, he's gonna work out really good. So, you start seeing somebody putting back out on the street. Because we're fully staffed, this week we started and finished the grease trap inspections. Hopefully don't get calls on that, because I've already gotten several 8 calls because we failed some grease traps, but it is what it is. I think we're gonna run into an issue where one of the septic companies is not doing the proper job, so we're trying to work with a couple of business owners and sort that out. Try and get them to move on to somebody else, or get out, or we've gotta be there when they do it to make sure they do the correct job. It's on the picture, thank you, picture.
Yes.
Our new camera van showed up.
In color.
Yeah,
Color.
good job, Wally.
Good job, thanks, Bill.
Don't you print it on color?
I made some death threats if it wasn't.
I know. He was gonna run me over with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
awesome.
they spent 2 days of training on it, and we've got, on the operational side of it, starting Tuesday, 4 Tuesdays in a row, we got some online training where the company actually remotes into the van itself, runs it through scenarios. So you gotta be up to speed pretty quick on the thing.
Very cool.
And speaking of blowers, so last Thursday, one of our blowers went down on a heat sink town. That's the same thing we had almost 2 months ago, the exact same thing. And one time we just got plain lucky because 5-star was already over, I think we'll say 6, they're on their way there. And they actually had, through my replacement for the one that failed, in the van with them, so. Took some work, we got everything up and running again, so if we get the new motor shipped out, installed, I'm hoping by this September, we can finally have all 3 blowers available going into winter, so.
Awesome.
And just trying to get parts on this stuff, so now that we used up all the replacement parts, now we gotta reorder again. It'll probably be just in time for number 3 to go online and then fail, so. We're just trying to scoop up whatever parts we can at this point, just to have them on the shelf.
He said scoop.
That's good. Anything else for wastewater?
Awesome. Nice job, Wally.
Thank you.
So Jed brought in a bunch of money.
Jed's awesome.
JD brought in a bunch of money. Wally?
Just spends a bunch of money.
Yeah.
I depend on these guys to make money for me.
That's why Wally's scraping screens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just wait till CapEx time, I'm looking good.
That's true, that's true.
So budget's coming up, so be afraid.
Yeah. Item 11, items unfinished from the previous meeting. Can't remember if we had anything.
Prior.
That wasn't a meeting, that was a different meeting. Okay. Talk about lifeguards. Fire department discount, did we ever sort out the fire department's discount on their taps?
No. I dropped the ball on that. I'll take care of it.
So it's recorded on there now.
Hey, I was man enough to say I dropped the
Appreciate
ball
it,
on
yeah, let's follow up on that, I'm sure they'll be surprised that we even still remember it, but let's follow up, make sure they got the discount we told them they'd get.
I thought we signed that check a long time ago.
That's what I'm thinking. I
I
thought
think
we
we
did that
signed that
like
check,
2 years ago.
no,
No,
it's been months ago though.
On the taps?
I have
Yeah.
seen on their account, a reimbursement of some sort, but I didn't look at it
I just wanna make sure.
to say like what exactly was it for, that's what I'm saying, I dropped the ball.
Are we
So we
talking?
have refunded them something, but I don't know if it's related to the
They
tax.
should have been refunding them, I think, half of the second tax.
$8,000, if I remember right, something like that, wasn't it?
That was a while ago,
I just wanna make sure.
cause they paid it in full, and then we
We-
came back and gave them
Yep.
a check back.
Well, after the previous administration was handling some of that stuff, it's just some of the stuff that I wanted us to follow up on to make sure that it actually happened.
Yeah, cause I think I was actually still allowed to sign checks at that point during the week. So, that was a hot minute ago.
Yeah, I don't remember the amount, but I thought it was taken care of, so.
I think that was it. Right now, we haven't heard anything back on the corner lot or anything like that.
The new financial layout looks really good, by the way.
Do you like it on the legal side?
It's way easier to read, especially on legal, because then I don't have to squint.
Yes. Wally resorted to getting a magnifying glass. So after he brought that out, I was like, okay, it's probably time to get legal.
I figured he'd have brought the camera van and just put it down on the ground.
All right, I think that's all I had.
What do you got, cable pulled up through here?
Yeah.
Okay. With no other follow-up, let's see. Item 13, public comment regarding current board business not on the agenda. Any public comment? You? No? Nobody emailing in?
Everyone is content, good job.
I like it. All right.
Happy homeowners.
Item 14. I'll motion we enter executive session for determined positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations under CRS 246402-4E, namely matters related to D49, and to a possible property acquisition for parks and recreation purposes.
A second.
All right. Any other discussion on it? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're now in executive session. All right, thank you, Brian.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
You too. Any other business? Item 16.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, motion from Stacy to adjourn.
Second.
Second from John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're out of here.